Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're embarking on an epic journey through time, exploring one of the world's oldest and most fascinating civilizations, China. From legendary emperors to modern marvels, the history of China is a vast and intricate tapestry. So, buckle up as we try to condense over 5,000 years into just a few minutes. Our story begins in the fertile basin of the Yellow River, often called the cradle of Chinese civilization. According to legend, wise sage kings like Yao, Shun, and Yu the Great laid the foundations of society. It was Yu who is said to have established the first dynasty, the Xia, around 2070 BC. While its existence is still debated by some historians, it marks the beginning of dynastic rule that would define China for millennia. Following the Xia came the Shang dynasty, the first to be confirmed by archaeological evidence. We have incredible artifacts from this era, like intricate bronze vessels and, most importantly, oracle bones. These were animal bones and turtle shells used for divination, inscribed with the earliest known form of Chinese writing. They give us a priceless glimpse into the Shang people's beliefs, concerns, and daily life. Next, the Zhou dynasty emerged, overthrowing the Shang. The Zhou was the longest-lasting dynasty in Chinese history, and it introduced a crucial political and philosophical concept, the mandate of heaven. This was the idea that a just ruler had divine approval to govern, but this mandate could be lost if the ruler became corrupt or ineffective, leading to natural disasters and rebellion. This concept would be used to legitimize the rise and fall of dynasties for centuries to come. The later part of the Zhou dynasty, however, descended into a period of chaos known as the Spring and Autumn and the Warring States periods. Central authority collapsed and various states battled for supremacy. But out of this turmoil came an unprecedented intellectual flourishing, often called the 100 Schools of Thought. This was the age of great philosophers like Confucius, who emphasized social harmony, respect, and filial piety. Laozi, the founder of Taoism, who advocated for living in harmony with the natural way of things, the Tao. And Sun Tzu, whose art of war is still studied by military leaders and business executives today. These philosophies would profoundly shape the cultural and moral fabric of China and much of East Asia. The chaos of the Warring States period was finally ended by one man, Qin Shi Huang. He conquered all rival states and in 221 BC declared himself the first emperor of a unified China, establishing the Qin dynasty. He was a ruthless but incredibly effective ruler. He standardized everything, weights and measures, currency, and even the writing system, which was a monumental step for unifying a vast territory. He also initiated massive construction projects, including the first version of what we now know as the Great Wall of China and his own magnificent tomb, guarded by the world-famous Terracotta Army. The Qin dynasty was short-lived, but its legacy of a centralized bureaucratic empire would last for 2,000 years. After the fall of the Qin, the Han dynasty rose to power and is considered one of the golden ages in Chinese history. It was during this period that the Silk Road, a network of trade routes connecting the East and West, began to flourish. Silk, spices, and other goods traveled west, while ideas, technologies, and new cultures flowed into China. The Han dynasty also officially established Confucianism as the state ideology, creating a system of governance and education that would endure for centuries. The influence of this era was so profound that the majority ethnic group in China still refers to themselves as the Han people. Following the Han, China experienced a period of division, but was eventually reunified under the Sui, and then the Tang dynasties. The Tang dynasty is another celebrated golden age, renowned for its cosmopolitan culture, economic prosperity, and artistic achievements. Its capital, Chang'an, was the most populous city in the world, a vibrant hub of international trade and culture. This was the era of great poets like Li Bai and Du Fu, and significant inventions like woodblock printing, which made literature and knowledge more accessible than ever before. The Song dynasty followed, and while militarily it was often on the defensive against northern neighbors, it was a period of incredible economic and technological advancement. The Song dynasty saw the invention of movable type printing, the compass, and gunpowder. It had a burgeoning market economy, paper money, and a standing navy. Some historians argue that China was on the cusp of an industrial revolution centuries before it happened in Europe. This era was brought to a dramatic end by the Mongol invasion. In the 13th century, Genghis Khan and his successors created the largest contiguous land empire in history. His grandson, Kublai Khan, conquered China and established the Yuan dynasty. While the Mongol rule was relatively short, it facilitated unprecedented contact between China and the wider world, as famously documented by the Venetian merchant Marco Polo. When the Yuan dynasty was overthrown, the ethnic Han Chinese returned to power under the Ming dynasty. The Ming rulers sought to re-establish traditional Chinese values and institutions. They completed the Great Wall, as we largely see it today, and sponsored epic maritime expeditions led by the Admiral Zheng He, whose massive treasure fleets sailed as far as the coast of Africa, decades before European explorers began their voyages. The Ming dynasty is also famous for its beautiful porcelain, especially the blue and white ware that became prized around the globe. The final imperial dynasty was the Qing, established by the Manchu people from the north. In its early years, the Qing dynasty oversaw a long period of peace and prosperity, expanding the empire to its greatest territorial extent. However, by the 19th century, the Qing faced immense internal and external pressures. Internal rebellions and rapid population growth strained resources, while Western powers, armed with superior military technology, pushed for trade and concessions, leading to events like the Opium Wars. This century of humiliation culminated in the fall of the Qing dynasty in 1912 and the establishment of the Republic of China. The 20th century was a tumultuous time of civil war, Japanese invasion, and profound political change. This eventually led to the victory of the Communist Party under Mao Zedong, who established the People's Republic of China in 1949. Since then, China has undergone one of the most rapid and dramatic transformations in human history. Following the economic reforms of the late 1970s, it has lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and has become a major global power, a leader in technology, manufacturing, and commerce. From the legendary Xia to the modern People's Republic, the history of China is a powerful story of unity and division, of brilliant innovation and profound tradition, of epic struggles and remarkable resilience. It's a story that continues to unfold and shape our world today. Thank you so much for joining me on this whirlwind tour through Chinese history. I know we've only scratched the surface, but I hope it has sparked your curiosity to learn more. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure into the past. Let me know in the comments which dynasty or period you'd like to see a more detailed video on. Until next time, stay curious.